I still remember the good old times. It was the late 90s and I had just learned to use the big boy party. When I for the very first time saw a Tomb Raider game at a friend's house.
Considering how old you are, it's kind of self-explanatory. Tomb Raider is old. It's one of the real old action hero franchises that we per automatic respect, just because we have a predetermined image of it.
Yeah, well, anyway, the third series, the survival series of the Tomb Raider games, has given us a more mature and less sexualized Lara. But it is still a Lara that we are inclined to care about. But after 22 years and 12 releases, Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics definitely knows what they are doing.
And that is, if you do not count the Game Boy games or the Lara Croft spin-offs.
Yeah, there have been a bunch of Tomb Raider related releases. A really tough bunch, I tell you that. But for now, let's focus on the latest iteration of Tomb Raider. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, here we come!
Jonah, I'm here. Just a little stuck. A rock hit my leg.
Don't move, I'll get help.
No, I'm right on Trinity's tail. I don't want to attract attention.
I'm on my way.
I won't be long.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the third and the last chapter in the rebooted franchise. As in the previous two titles, you play as Lara Croft, trying to save the world. This time from an ancient Mayan artifact that threatens to destroy the world. At least I think that is what it threatens to do. It's not really that distantly told exactly what you're trying to stop.
You stupid ass! If I had believed everything they told me, that I'd been extinct and slightly gay chronic masturbator living in northern Canada. These are Inca artifacts, not Mayan. Inca! Even my old grandfather knows this and he's dead. You stupid ass! Get out of here! Right from the start we get the feeling of exclusion, like we are not supposed to know what the hell we are doing in Mexico. And this is sadly all over the place. The storytelling is kind of fuzzy and excluding. Right up in the start we are introduced to Dr. Dominguez that we later learn is the game's antagonist.
And what's up with these modern antagonists? I felt it in Far Cry 5 and I felt it in other games. These new antagonists are more intellectually based villains than we used to have. These are not straight up evil or violent. These villains' main crime is to have a controversial view that does not fit with the mainstream of today. I struggled through the whole game trying to dislike Dominguez, but all he really tries to do is to protect his people and culture from being wiped out of history.
Lo siento!
Don't worry. Go, play.
The readings at the site are unlike anything we've ever seen.
Artifacts, stopping the apocalypse, saving all the people. Can we work together?
Never, Mr. Dominguez.
What? Why?
I would never work with someone like you.
Someone like me? I'm trying to stop the apocalypse.
No, I don't believe you. You're evil.
Why do you not believe me?
I will stop bad people like you.
Why am I bad?
Because it's you who are killing people.
I'm not killing anyone.
But you want to.
I don't want to.
But you're bad.
I will stop the apocalypse myself, and you can't help me. You better stay out. I will save the people and stop the apocalypse myself. And you better stay away. I will do this myself. You can't help me.
I will stop you.
Stop me stopping this apocalypse. Are you crazy? You stay out of my way, you stupid bitch. I will stop the apocalypse myself.
So it's kind of hard to actually hate the antagonist. We have no idea what it is we're currently doing in South America and Lara still only has the one gun. The game story is obviously getting quite obscure start, and it takes a lot of focusing to get involved. But as we stumble across the still-breathing, forgotten city of Paititi, we get the side happenings, like the rebellion, that gets us a little more substance.
Paititi is actually based on the report by real-world Andres Lopez that told the Vatican about the rumors of a hidden city somewhere in Peru or northern Bolivia, where the mythical Inca hero of Incari is said to have founded a hidden city to hide his people from the onslaught of the Spaniards.
These real-world references is really nice, but when arriving in Paititi is also where the game starts to trying to be an open-world game, or should I say an open-world RPG, which is a little like peeing on the bathroom floor. Sure, you made a decision with great intent, but it's still pointless. So you have a bunch of side activities scattered across the valley, and believe you me, I am all about the side activities, so I did not say no to this, but sadly it is narrowed down by the very thin and pointless shell of an RPG system, which comes to affect many aspects of the game in its whole, mostly because of its ties with earning and spending experience.
There are a lot of ways to get XP. So far, so good. It's quite rewarding to search for all the activities and collectibles that gives you a little XP, but you'll soon be aware that leveling doesn't really do any difference. All it really does is gives you another skill point, which is used to unlock skills. So, let's take a look at the skills and the skill tree.
You have three categories. It's the blue, the seeker, the red, the warrior, and the green, that is the scavenger. The seeker focuses on bettering the survival skills, first and foremost. Can give you a little edge when hunting and searching for stuff, and looting, and that kind of stuff. The warrior skills is more about aim, like firing faster, taking a little less damage. One or another skill, you know, bettering your weapon upgrades, levels, that kind of stuff. And then you have the scavenger tree, that is more about the environment and the ability to, you know, like mud yourself when you feel dirty, or staying a little longer underwater, which is good because you spend a lot of time underwater. And then each tree has these plant options to better the time and effects of your plants, which is kind of a bonus, at least at higher difficulties. There are a few essential skills that you want to have, but most of the skills is just pointless fillers. Then we have the clothes changing aspect, and it's really nice to be able to change your character's appearance. And it was so awesome to see the old 90s Lara in low poly meshes. That is something that I haven't seen for quite a while. You can play as Lara from several of the older games, and of course many different versions of this game's very own iteration of Lara.
She could tell on us.
I won't tell if you won't tell. I have a secret too. I'm the brave adventurer Lara Croft.
More than once did I think that this game doesn't really know what it is. Am I an RPG? Am I an open world game? Am I a story-driven adventure game? Am I a stealth game?
Then we have the part where you can upgrade and develop your weapons, which is underwhelming and not enough rewarding. I do not say it's a bad decision by the developer, because it's a good circle to have, collecting those resources to get the upgrades, to get the edge you need in battle. But here it never really gives you any feelable edge. I never found myself thinking that any of the weapons had any real worth in the long run. And those upgrades just marginally changes the stats of the weapons, which you will never feel if you do not play on the hardest settings.
I do miss the luring mechanism from Assassin's Creed though, where you can lure enemies into moving closer by you whistling. Sometimes you just have to stand there for a while, waiting for the enemy to move close enough for you to stab him. Talking of which, isn't it strange that none ever makes a sound when you suddenly comes out of the shadows and puts a knife to your throat? Shouldn't someone, sometime, Scream?
I am aware that it so far sounds that we just have negatives, which is totally wrong. Even though there are weak spots scattered across the game, this is still an awesome experience. This is a single-player adventure game with the highest tower level of quality. This is the kind of game that we love and truly recommend. Let's get to the good stuff, shall we?
The environments in Shadow of the Tomb Raider are gorgeous. This is not uncommon with AAA titles these days, so it can't really lift the game on its own. But as a dedicated fan of different cultures, I loved walking around in an ancient Inca-inspired environment. And the lack of HUD makes it all more immersive. Not many titles have this little HUD blocking your view. Even though it's sometimes hard to know when to use your medical herbs, but when you get comfortable with the controls, it's just great to be left with the open view of this astonishing world.
This game should be played as a stealth, get by combat or firefight. This is one of the really fine stealth and silent murdering games out there. It gets really fun if you get your hands on the controls and things in air. You sneak around, you hide over there, you hide over there. You get really dirty by smearing mud all over your body. It's almost like a really kinky one-woman orgy sometimes. You attack enemies from the back, from a tree branch above, or from the water below. When you get the hands of it, you will feel pretty powerful, especially when you can hear the enemies talking about you, like you are some dangerous myth or something.
Oh god, I haven't eaten for like 40 minutes. What's that?
What the fuck are you talking about, Jonah?
I think it's the artifact.
That crap over there?
It is. Let's go.
No, this way.
This crazy ass talk. It's a road right here.
No, there isn't. You go that way. I go this way. The best way.
Okay then.
As this is one of the modern high-tech stealth games, I feel that we should be able to move the dead bodies, hide them to avoid detection. Assassin's Creed has done this for quite a while now, so I feel that it should be technically doable, shouldn't it?
You couldn't move a body if it were made of air! My whole family says you're so much bitch! You can't even eat a sour dick bitch mother-ass candy! It's just impossible for a bitch like you!
Say it's impossible to eat these candy, but I say I love sour candy. I will prove them wrong by eating it all by myself. Look, it looks like puke.
Mimi.
No problems. It's important to note though that aside from the hub city of Paititi, this is not an open world game. It's very linear in its design. Sometimes too linear, if I may say so myself. I felt that it could get pretty strange sometimes when your ability to climb a wall and have an edge is limited to the exact same spot as the developers intended and not an inch otherwise. Sometimes this bothered me a lot.
You wanna know something bothering me? The world map. Why is there only 2 zoom levels? With some of the side quests I couldn't decide if I were in the correct zone, because I couldn't zoom out to see the area I were in. During my whole playthrough I could never see a reason why there couldn't be a more intuitive world map.
But it all works though, even though the world map could have been a bit better executed,
and we still get around 15 to 20 hours of gameplay before finishing the main story, after which we can continue playing to do all the side activities, getting all the achievements and so on. I felt though that this main story were barely making it at the end. Things wrap up pretty nicely, but does not really end with all the blanks and needs explained, leaving us not totally satisfied. Well, I think we have covered most of the most important stuff here, so let's go wrap it up.
Even though we had a lot of complaints during this review, this is still an awesome experience that perfectly represents what we think the gaming industry needs today. A serious scratch in the ass.
Single-player adventure games is heavily under fire by greedy suits and their corporates and should be equally supported from us gamers. Single-player games with a soul, made by dedicated people with the intention of telling a story that will touch the people playing it.
Yeah, so if you like Tomb Raider or platforms, or puzzle games, or hot chicks that kicks ass in dirty clothes, we strongly recommend you buying Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or any of the two earlier iterations.
This was a great series with the implementation of some new cool mechanics and ways to deliver an experience. What is up for Laura next? We don't know, but hopefully the same level of maturity, but with 2 guns.
So, with that said, I think we are ready to deliver our final verdict. Our horde of savage scientists have come down to the final verdict of a very strong 7 out of 10. Now on to other adventures, all crazy ass bros and gals out there. Good gaming to you all. Until next time. Even though
Made by dedicated people with the intention of touching the people.
a serious butt in the scratch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, push the bell to get notifications of all our latest videos. Also, if you would like to purchase some cheap games with additional cashback, follow our link down below. I'll be seeing you in the next spectacular video.